Hello, and welcome to a book club for games. We are four lifelong friends who love to play games, and we wanted a new way to game together, so we decided to start a book club, but for games. Every month, we will choose one new game to play, and at the end of that month, we invite you all to join us in discussing that game. Everything will be up for discussion, from gameplay to sound design, business practices, or really anything else we can think about. So without further ado, I'm Mitchell.
Kevin?
Terry.
Yeah.
And this month's game is Space Run. Space Run was chosen by me, so I'll give a little reasoning to why I chose it.
It has the name Space.
It is about space, which is clearly my weakness. Honestly, I didn't even really think about it until I chose this game and realized it was also yet another spaceship game. But I guess I do like sci-fi, so a lot of the games I pick are of that nature. Gameplay wise,
how many games have you?
3 games you picked so
three
far?
for 3,
no,
bro.
Gladiator Guild Manager.
Oh yeah.
You gotta pick 4
for
games.
4.
My bad.
Wow.
That's a C, man.
A C in science fiction. But yeah, I thought the gameplay would be fun. It has kind of some similarities to Warrior, customizing your own ship, which is cool. But this one's a little more, or a little less freeform actually. It's pretty mission based. And people are selling it as kind of a tower defense like type game. It's not exactly tower defense, but it definitely inherits some things from that. And I do like a good tower defense. We all played them when we were young children, when they were just flash games. But yeah, it seemed interesting. So Space Run. But I guess just to start off with our normal plot discussion, there isn't much to speak of. Really at all. But Terry, would you like to walk us through what
you're literally just playing a dude
Chad.
who is good at delivering things through space, and you're given a bunch of missions from different companies, where each of the companies, you start with the basic company where it's like, oh yeah, here's some stuff you put on your ship and you deliver it. You go from point A to, you just go through the levels, and then there's other companies. Like one of the companies is you're delivering nuclear waste. So if that cargo gets destroyed, it blows up your ship. Yada yada, and that's the whole game.
Yeah, you're basically a Chad smuggler.
Yeah.
Like I think any person imagines what a smuggler in the sci-fi setting is. That's the main character of this game.
There's a couple like pirates, recurring enemies, I guess, but they're
Space pirate.
Quest givers. Yeah.
Classic.
Flanderized, I guess you could say. They're kind of parodies of themselves, but
Yeah, they're caricatures. They're all caricatures. The game is that's obviously not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to talk, I guess, while we're on the subject of characters, a little bit about the voice acting. I thought I didn't look it up. He sounded a lot like Jim Raynor. I don't think he was, but
he is Yasuo from League of Legends, aka Liam
Oh my
O'Brien.
god!
I
thought
knew he sounded.
I always
his voice
mix up that
Yeah.
voice.
It's 2014 Liam O'Brien, which is right around Yasuo time. So, and he had a very distinctive voice, especially back then. At least from the works
I was
know.
like, I knew.
So he was Gaara in the English dub of Naruto, Yasuo in League, and Ruin King, amongst.
Wasn't he also
other
the
things.
voice for the StarCraft 2 ghost?
Was he?
I only know their dying noise, blah, which could be him.
Yeah, that he was the only really voice that felt very recognizable though.
Yeah.
The rest.
I
I
knew I had heard it.
Yeah.
It was also like a pretty generic like space going guy voice, but like it was well done though, for sure.
Yeah.
Were any of the other voice actors notable, Terry, or like not even notable, just like ones you recognize?
Did not recognize any of the other ones, if I'm being perfectly honest. Even when I went through the credits and scrolled to that section, I saw Liam O'Brien and I saw the other names. I'm like, I don't recognize any of these.
But yeah, as I wanted to bring it up because I think the voice acting overall was a strength. There's not a lot they're trying to do, but I did like what they had, especially because the dialogue is nice. It's witty with the quality voice acting. So
They
So, like,
all really lean into the characters.
so looking at this list, he was Illidaddy in the Burning Crusade.
Yep.
Hello, Daddy.
Yeah,
Dude, it's been a while.
it's been a while. I'm looking at any of these, see if any of these would be things we recognize, but keep going.
Yep.
Yeah, he was
yeah.
the ghost in StarCraft 2.
Okay. I can hear that. I can feel that. Yeah. But yeah, I think voice acting overall was good. What bare bones story or just like set dressing there was well done because of that voice acting. A couple other characters who were good, funny-ish jokes.
The
Kinda
characters had good voice acting lines together in the long sections, like the only conversations of the thing, right? But
Yeah.
I could have lived with a few more canned voice lines as you were playing the game.
Especially
like at
from
the end
the
when you
robot.
win. Yeah, there's only like they like repeated themselves a lot, and by the end I was like, okay, bro.
Shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why your insurance premiums are so high. That's why your insurance premiums are so high. Okay, I get it. I lost a fucking.
It's like, what is it? He's like, yeehaw! I
Yeah.
can't believe I just said that.
Yeah.
there,
It's like,
there needed to be a little more variety there. The text boxes were not edited super thoroughly. Like they
Oh,
would
yeah.
have wrong words sometimes, and they would just miss punctuation. You know, minor stuff like that.
At first, I thought that was intentional because with the pirate conversations, especially the Brownbeard, who like leans really hard into the unintelligible pirate accent. But his dialogue in the text boxes is actually just like normal dialogue. Like half of them are like normal dialogue, and then half of them are like what he's actually saying.
Like yar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just overall, I liked the voice acting, though there was definitely not enough voice lines. They got pretty old. But yeah, I think overall, keeping on sound, it was a lot of it is just like well done generic stuff. You know, it's lasers and they sound like you expect lasers to.
Lasers and rockets.
Shields sound exactly like you expect shields to sound.
I don't know if you noticed, it has also the nice extra RTS sort of layer of like when you activate abilities. I think maybe when you click on buildings as well, they have sound.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times
I overall like the I think on that type of thing, their UI, I like their UI overall, like in the menus and stuff. It was immersive and it got the job done to a degree. But I think for like I mean their models and stuff were good. But I think their effects animation was like it was okay. Like it felt very like a pretty quick
Well, the game
sci-fi.
is kind of old. It's
Yeah.
It's 2014. And overall, it's funny that Mitchell mentioned Flash game era tower defense because I definitely got like slightly polished Flash game vibes from this game.
Oh yeah, this was a premium Flash game.
Yeah. I felt it scratched like an RTS itch kinda. I was like, dude, there's kind of a lot going on.
Yeah, no, there's a lot of, we'll talk about it later, but yeah. Like Micro, the sound design, like I said, with selecting buildings and like, you know, like it feels very RTS like with all the unit.
Yeah. I guess not out of gameplay. It's a very gameplay heavy game, so I don't know if there's anything else that we really want to talk about. That's not gameplay. You know, like art, sound, anything else that design wise.
I mean, like Kevin said, it's cohesive. Like,
Yeah.
nice.
I would say of those parts though, I think the sound design was my favorite. Like I felt like the noises were pretty, like what Jeffrey's saying, when you click on things, they had good oomph and stuff like that.
I think mine just was really loud. I had to turn it down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I guess
it was
that's a
pretty
thing.
loud.
Why the fuck do you have to go into the game file to access the options menu? The options menu doesn't exist in the main menu. You have to go into your game file, but before
There's
they let you
a
access the settings.
yeah,
Is
there's
there-
a lack of polish in some areas that you
Yeah.
notice.
And
like
the
the
main menu,
dialogue settings.
the main menu / title screen, I wish they had done something other than the ambient noise of the ship. I mentioned this. I think it works for. I think it was also in Avorion a little bit, but Avorion. I don't know. The ship here, which is like kind of really annoying. So idling on the main menu while I was like setting stuff up, it got pretty grating. I was like, this could have just been
I actually did
either
not notice.
silence or like something else other than the ambient sound of the game.
I didn't really stay on the main menu long enough, but I do know what you're talking. It's like it's kind of
Yeah.
Mm,
it's an engine noise.
yeah. Mhm.
But
It's a thrust.
Thrusters to maximum.
overall, I think it's good package. Like I don't know, cohesiveness is good.
I wanted to say there's like one moment early in the game where he gets kind of creepy towards that woman, which kind of
Oh,
makes
yeah.
the game
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
a little
yeah.
dated.
I didn't like that either,
But,
and I also like.
Yeah, at least it didn't lead to like a weird romance subplot, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It was-
okay, yeah, that's all. That's all I had to say.
He was just talking. He was just talking to his android bro, you know.
He's like,
At least he did. He didn't harass her.
Yeah.
It's just kind of a creepy remark.
But yeah, it made me a little uncomfortable too. It was like one of the first like
The
combos you
first,
have in the
like,
game.
yeah,
Oh, was it the first?
the
Yeah.
first company. Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah,
I guess we're.
That's
Yeah.
2014. But yeah, I think it looks good enough. Sounds good enough, and it's only $5, so I wasn't expecting for it to look or sound.
I'd pay
super
for some
amazing.
Flash games I used to play back in the day.
Oh,
and,
absolutely.
this was definitely a premium Flash game. So,
I mean, nowadays Balloon's Tower Defense, you have to pay for that.
Balloon's
used to
Tower
be free.
Defense is a premium Flash game.
But yeah, I think that's about it. Non-gameplay wise, as I mentioned, it's pretty gameplay heavy. For $5, you only get so much. And it's good to have a good gameplay.
It literally plays like a mobile game. Like there's like levels and you like have small dialogue in between levels and yeah.
I think it would be a good mobile game actually.
I don't think so.
No.
You have
No?
too much APM.
That hurt.
Too
That
much
would hurt my
APM.
That's true.
Controls have to be too precise. You can't zoom in,
Yeah. It's
so
too
you can't make
small.
the towers bigger.
I
And
guess
tapping on
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like things are too fast too.
Yeah, it is
There's
fast.
a reason why
that's the thing.
StarCraft-
You can you can click.
There's a
Or-
reason why
and you have to
StarCraft was
orient them,
only
too.
ever on
Yeah.
the N64 and no other console.
StarCraft's even.
Don't.
Forget that.
don't disrespect StarCraft and 64's name.
StarCraft
That was some
64.
quality gaming right there.
All right, but yeah, going into gameplay then. Terry, you want to give us the quick breakdown of how the game plays?
Yeah, so like we mentioned before, you are essentially delivery man. The way the game works is that it's broken up into a bunch of different missions. So you have, at the end of the day, you have 5 different companies that want you to deliver stuff for them, and in each of those companies, there's 6 delivery missions. And within the delivery mission, you start out with a predefined hex grid in the vague shape of a spaceship, where you put down the cargo you have to deliver in like whatever orientation you want, as well as a single thruster. You go, and then during a level, you usually start out with in the early game you start out with like 100 of the in-game like money. And then
depends
you
on
just
the
have
level.
and towards the end game, towards the later half, you always start with around 400. And the whole goal is you're trying to get from beginning of the level to the end of the level as fast as possible, with bonuses for going at certain speeds, while keeping your stuff safe. The whole time there are space pirates and different various ships. Some of them are like small ships, and some of them are like ships that you could have constructed. And you build turrets and shields and generators and stuff to just defend against those pirates and asteroids and other space hazards as you progress through the game.
I wanna I want to talk about it for a little bit from a tower defense perspective, because this is basically the interesting part of this game is that it's an adaptation of tower defense. So you can think of those ships as they move. So rather than a traditional tower defense where you have a map and just set up lines and you have freeform building, sometimes you have freeform. This is a much more constrained quote unquote map on the center of the screen, and enemies come towards you. So you're basically like a walking fortress. That's the spin.
And most like
and it's
you can't
continuous
orient
too.
things, right? It's you place it and it shoots in a certain area. So if they're coming here and your gun's pointing this way, it's not going to work, right? You have to build a gun pointing that way.
Yeah,
but that's like a lot of other tower defense games.
Yeah, that's like the basics. But then of course, like as you progress, you unlock space credits, which you can spend on upgrading and unlocking various defensive, offensive, and support tools. Like you can unlock better tiered guns, better tiered rocket launchers, generators, thrusters, all of that, all in an effort to just deliver as fast as possible.
My favorite part of a tower defense, the progression.
Yeah, there's in mission progression and then out of mission in mission currency and out of.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, so it's actually quite nice. It does upgrades decently, I would say.
Yeah,
I'm disappointed in. I can't say I'm disappointed because the game, it's a premium Flash game. I'm not like expecting a huge amount of variety, but it was a little limited. There's basically two types of attack towers, and basically for attack, defense, and utility, there's two types of structures for each, and they just get bigger and better as you progress.
Yeah. So that's what keeps the progression nice, though. I like that it wasn't just they solve linear scaling by making it bigger, so you would have to think.
Yeah, so it wasn't purely boring vertical progression because there is the trade-off of space constraints. Because unlike a lot of other tower defense games, where space constraints usually aren't too big of an issue unless like a map is specifically like made for it.
Or higher tiered stuff tends to take the same space as lower tiered stuff, so you never want to build lower tier stuff. Here in this game, you sometimes want to because as Kevin mentioned, as for all of the things, as you go up in tiers, you also go up in size. So like for example, for the basic laser turret, the first level laser turret, it's just like one hex at the edge of your ship, and then also one hex off of your ship for the gun, the actual like turret to be placed. The second tier of laser turret also only takes one hex on your spaceship. But also needs to be powered, and in addition, it needs 3 empty spaces for its gun turret. And then the last tier of the laser turret needs 4 spaces, 4 hex spaces, as well as more power, thus taking up even more space. So sometimes you don't actually want the big boy because you're super space constrained, because some of the deliveries are super space constrained based on the companies.
Unlike a lot of tower defenses, I'd say that actually the main focus of this game is space constraints. It's trying to force you to jigsaw, so the shapes are not necessarily linearly increasing either. They're not just like 1 hex and then like 3 hexes and like a 7. They actually have like weird shapes, like the fidget spinner one. I like the fidget spinner shape.
The gyro, the magnetic reactor.
Yeah, reactor and the shield, tier 2 shield.
Yeah, tier 2 shield.
T shapes, things like that, which makes so basically the progression is not vertical in the sense that there's some interesting decisions to be made based on not only the abilities they get are slightly different, but although most of them are just straight upgrades on the lower counterparts, there are a few differences that are key. Yeah. And the shape differences also contribute to that sort of irregularity that makes the game interesting. Along with the big aspect regarding space constraints is how every deliverer has a different type of cargo that also imposes its own building restriction. I'll just say it's a really quick example. Terry mentioned before the explosive ones that if they get destroyed, they blow up a bunch of your ship. And there's ones that sap energy from nearby towers, so you need to build additional power plants essentially to supply them. That can add a lot of interesting ship building constraints.
Yeah, and then on top of that, each company usually has like slightly varied, like cargo actual like shapes.
Yeah. There's progression in that too. Like as you
Yeah.
play through
The cargo
the
gets more difficult to
storylines, yeah.
manage and larger,
Yeah.
but also your ships
And
become
different
larger
effects,
as
too.
your towers become.
Yeah.
It's refreshing in the sense that you'll usually vary your approach many times even on the same level, because you'll think of optimizations, right, about where to put your structures. You can also place the cargo, by the way. It's not predetermined, so it really
Except for
affects
one
how
company. But
except
even
for
then,
except for the robot.
the robot ones, you still have some flexibility.
That is the quote unquote gimmick of one of the two gimmicks of the robot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, the robot one was super interesting because not only is it like,
Yeah.
the little things that you need to carry for them are pre-placed. You have to like spend the like in mission monies that you would spend on like your turrets and stuff to like build out the network to connect all of them to the
Minerals.
to the main hub. But in addition, if the main hub in the AI one is actually the max upgraded main hub. It's automatically the max upgraded one, even if you don't have any of the upgrades.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't upgrade my main hub, so
after I did the AI missions and figured out that the level 1 upgrade's pretty nice, and the level 2 is actually pretty good for getting better at the getting speedy deliveries, which is really good.
The
I was like,
the
oh.
level 1 upgrade is so basically automatically. Okay, so the core resource. I think we should talk about how the resources work in the game, because the core.
Yeah, so the core resource is basically like nuts, space nuts, essentially, like the hexagonal nuts. And the whole point is that all of the enemies and all of the all of like the debris and asteroids that you take down, all of them drop some quantity of this currency.
Just like an tower defense.
Yeah, but they just float there in space, and you have to like mouse over them to then get them to start heading towards your main thing, and then from there you collect it, and then you can spend it on your turrets, your abilities, and whatnot. What we're talking about is the level upgrading your main hub to level 1. When you give it power, it will just automatically start attracting those things to the main thing, so you don't have to worry about having a cluster of like 200 credits just off screen.
It's the classic sort of suboptimal play if you're super good at microing, but most people are lazy and they're just gonna spend a space, get the battery, so you can activate the magnet. So it's
pretty.
I actually never did that. I was like,
I never did that.
Power.
Yeah.
Wait, okay, what?
Yeah.
Before we go on, what difficulty did everyone play on?
I played on normal.
Expert. Or the hardest.
Expert. Yeah. There's only
Yeah.
it's easy, normal, hard. So played on hard as well.
It was pretty hard, this game.
It was. I thought the early to middle levels were
No, I thought it got way harder at the end, actually.
But the end gets there's an interesting difficulty jump that I think I trivialized with a certain combo. Once I figured it out, everything became a lot easier. Should I talk about that now, or
yeah, if you want.
Basically, okay. So basically, right, the tier 3 generator has that construction ability, materialization, where the costs are reduced by 50% and the construction time by 80%. You can cheese most levels because the ships get so big by constructing the huge 4-size, the diamond-shaped turrets and a 3-power generator.
Yeah.
And then immediately activating materialization to just slam out another materializer. And so the materialization is supposed to be balanced by the fact that it has a resource cost, 150 credits. But because of how it has construction costs.
Oh, it has construction costs, but you can recycle for 75% of the base.
No. It's not an exploit. It's not an exploit. But basically, you're doing a materialization cascade. So you build the generator, you activate materialization, and you build as much as you can. So first you store up, then you build as much as you can to reap the benefits of the halved cost. So that recoups and profits, right, past the cost of the materialization ability itself, 150 credits. But the cooldown is supposed to be the big limiting factor. It's like a really long cooldown, like 90 seconds or something like that. But it doesn't matter because now you've built another tier 3 generator. So then in like 30 seconds, you're ready to start slamming out, another materialization, and then you cascade down that way. You kill ships because you're really fast and asteroids because you have high level turrets. which lets you put out more credits into materialization, slamming down another tier 3 generator, another heavy turret again and again, and then you have like 6 to 8 like heavy turrets in the span of
Yeah, I definitely did not. I saw that. I didn't have the money to get to there.
Yeah, I only just got it, and
I wanted to ask, did you guys repeat any missions to get space credits?
a couple times,
a couple times.
Not a lot, but a
I
few
didn't really
times.
repeat.
Wow. So
I didn't want to,
I
but I
probably
had to.
repeated and got beyond completing all the deliveries. I probably got like an extra like 60 or 70,000 credits.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I found one level that I was able to optimize to consistently get like one of the end game levels that I could
Oh, you
just
grinded?
optimize to get 5 stars,
I think
and it would always drop like 16,000 credits.
I
It only
think
took,
I
like, 8 or 9 minutes.
grinded once. Like I played one level for the credits, and I was like, "This is not what this game is about. I'm not grinding this game for the campaign credits. I'm just gonna play the next level." But I did replay to try to get higher efficiency time, which is great gameplay
Yeah.
design, by the way. Basically those those delivery speeds we mentioned earlier, you can 1 to 5 star level. The first 2 stars are based on how much of the cargo you deliver, so 50%, 0%, 100%.
Yeah.
And then the other 3 stars are based on how fast you did it. 1 star for standard, 2 for express, and 3 for light speed. So the really interesting part about the resource balancing in this game is you have to spend on if anyone has ever played a tower defense or RTS, you know this. There's essentially income, or rather, there's like income generators and win cons. These are thrusters. Thrusters can generate money just by doing nothing. So they're long-term play. You don't have to kill enemies. And they also help you get the 5-star score because you need thrusters to go really fast. But then if you get thrusters, you're not increasing your combat power. So you have a higher chance of wiping into a later wave. That's where the classic sort of tower defense, like, oh, do I want to save this money for a big upgrade, right? Or do I want to like just put out a tower now so I can, because I don't know if I'll survive the next wave, so on.
There's actually I felt like most levels started with you slamming thrusters though. It was kind of like
I
in
thought so
StarCraft, like,
too.
Really,
I
I
thought
never-
so
I
too,
just-
and then I slowly shifted. Like
Yeah,
I did
and
that
then
at
I
first.
think
I slammed like
The later levels,
slam
especially
one?
because they get really aggressive early, you start
Yeah.
having.
Yeah.
well, you make money.
I
from
honestly
killing
realized
stuff.
that thrusters don't generate that much income. What's more important is because they're throwing so much shit at you early,
Yeah.
and they
Just kill
give
them.
you so many credits for killing them.
Yeah,
It's
you need to be able to
more
kill
worth-
them. Yeah,
it's
more
more
worth it to be able
worth
to
Those
kill
first-
the things in the early
But
game.
those first like minute in most levels, there's nothing there, and like a lot of levels, like, you know, I feel like even at the end, like you always have to have the gun to prepare for when things are gonna come.
Towards the end,
like, you
I don't
still
think so. Towards
always-
the end, I think like every level had
Mm.
like an asteroid or one of those NPC ships that you could destroy purely for money,
Yeah.
and that was worth way more than
Yeah,
what
those warnings
I
usually
found-
came up
I
like
found
within
myself
5 seconds,
usually-
so you had like 30 seconds ish from beginning a level to prepare.
I agree. But I found myself still almost. I always slammed like 1 tier 2 thruster. I set it to get money, and then I would have enough time to put down a turret to kill that too. But I almost did that like every level.
Really, there were definitely levels where it was
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna be able to kill. So, for example, there are a number of enemies or debris or ships, both of them, that kind of just pass by your ship without doing anything, and they're essentially incentives to
They're like money pinatas.
be.
Because
Yeah,
the-
they're
'cause the
incentives to
first-
be aggressive, because yeah. So if they
Well,
put
because
them
nothing
early
comes
game,
at you in
then
the
your
first
value
like
play in
30
thrusters goes
seconds.
down because you'd rather build
Yeah.
combat things that apply now and later and get that immediate money boost, which is where money is the most in the early game, right?
Because I just feel like most of them, they didn't have, like, they did send threats quickly, but like
No,
there
but
was still like 30-40 seconds where there was nothing and you're just sitting there. I remember I actually got frustrated because one level I was replaying just to beat it a lot, and I would be waiting in that first like 40 seconds, and I was just like, oh man,
Me too,
this
yeah.
is, can I fast forward this? Can we like make this go a little faster, please? Because
Oh,
like
I
you just are
wanna-
sitting there waiting,
talk
you
about
build your
that
thruster
later.
out, you build your
But-
thingy out.
Before I
you're just like,
forget, I did want to circle back really quick about that good game design where they're doing the 5-star system
Oh,
with
yeah.
the speed. Most tower defenses don't do that.
Mhm.
Pretty unique, I'd say, of them, to make you want to speed run the level. Makes you balance the risk reward of, you know, getting the 5-star versus the getting more thrusters versus just turtling and building
Surviving,
10,000
yeah.
towers,
Also,
which
turns
is
out
easy.
if you don't make the standard delivery time, you actually
Oh, you
fail
do
the mission.
lose.
Oh really? I never.
I learned
yeah,
that. I learned that on the very last mission because I took
blew up
too
all my
long
engines.
fighting the final boss.
Yeah. It
It's,
blew up all
it's
my
pretty
engines
immersive
once,
too,
and I couldn't rebuild in time. But
since it ties to like the core of the game.
Yeah.
Getting it
Yeah.
as fast as possible.
Yeah, like I thought that was
fast
something,
as
but that was like the first time it actually happened, and I was like, oh,
yeah,
I guess that makes sense.
I always thought, to be honest, you kind of had to try to fail the standard delivery. It's pretty generous on that, at least for most levels.
Yeah.
But yeah,
even
getting
with, like, a
light speed
couple
delivery is, I don't know about you
thrusters,
guys, but I
It's
didn't
difficult.
replay levels, but I did go back to levels and try to get 5 stars on them. I think that was a really great. That's the good game design I was talking about, where there's like a
I mean that is replaying though. You still have to
That's
go back,
replaying because
right?
you're also
Yeah.
getting
Yeah.
the space credits from
Yeah,
the
you still
yeah.
get
So
money.
basically, yeah, you are replaying, but it feels less like replaying to grind and more to like get the 5
Right,
star,
yeah.
which is a really nice set. Also,
Yeah.
if it's in
Honestly,
the theme,
I was grinding because I was kind of done with the game.
Mhm.
By hour 6, I was pretty done with the game, and I think it was aside from the fact that I'm like, which is weird because I used to play tower defenses all the time, like we mentioned in Flash game stuff. But I was like, especially by the time I was like, maybe on delivery 3 for the tourists. I was like, the tourist mechanics for the deliveries sucked, and it like after that I was like, I'm kind of over this game.
The
And
tourist
so I
ones
just
suck
grinded
because
off stream
the
to like
ones-
get the
yeah.
upgrades so I could just
The-
breeze through the rest of the game.
the ones where the purple
Most of
dudes,
the-
the purple
Yeah, the purple
structures
dudes
at
take up
base
the
have-
edge. They want
Yeah.
edge view. A lot of those,
so
a
it
lot
really
of
makes
those
you
are
hate
like
the rich.
a lot of those
Yeah.
are like 1 or 2 star deliveries because like most
yeah.
of them
Yeah.
would die, and I did not care.
But the reason why level design wise, the coolest ones were, I feel, I like the crystal ones with
Yeah,
the
me too.
magic, or like
Mhm.
because those ones aren't just bad. There's give and take in those design philosophies, which made them a lot more interesting. Like I remember the final one is like the thumper, where like it would cancel
Yeah.
out everyone's shields, but it also canceled out your enemy's shields, so it didn't feel like
Too
as
bad,
bad. But
yeah.
I think the tourist one was like, oh, it's just an L.
Yeah.
You're just taking these rich people out for a flight.
I guess
Yeah.
I guess I'm
Yeah.
using rockets, and if I need a gun in that area,
Mhm.
you guys are just screwed.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's kind of hard because it's the core, the planning phase of the game. You sit there looking. Oh,
Or
on the
yeah.
the crystal one, I also loved that you could teleport. Like there's one that also like made
Oh, yeah.
crystals, and you
that
can like
just-
use those as tanks.
Yeah,
and, like,
they can be
like it just there were ways to play with the mechanic more.
Yeah.
And the robot one was also cool because it was kind of planning. It's kind of similar to the tourist one actually, where
Yeah,
you're like
it
you're
just, like,
forced.
Yeah,
to, it
but
just doesn't
it's
feel as
different
bad.
in that like
Yeah.
you have choices like in the middle of the mission of like how you want to
Yeah.
have this negatively impact you in terms
Yeah.
of space, because in connecting
Those ones
the
definitely.
AI one like we mentioned, you
Yeah.
have to connect like the hubs that they give you on your ship to the central unit, but in doing that you block some of the hex spaces that you would need for
Yeah.
your buildings. But you get
So
to
one was,
choose like,
like-
do I want to intentionally take a long path and take up more space just so I have a more optimal
Mhm.
location to place these stronger things, or do I just want to cut straight
Yeah.
through
Direct.
but then not have any of the space for the higher tier stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think it's like what you like as a person, because one was the planning and one was like the real time tactics, but they were ultimately the same kind of mechanic.
Yeah.
I thought I really disliked the crystals and the tourists, but I think as I played it, I kind of liked it. It's the kind of, so at the time I didn't like it because yeah, it's annoying. It's like, oh yeah, these are restrictions. It's very annoying. I had to deal with these guys. But when you think about it, right, obviously restrictions can make things fun too. I think I just kind of
Mhm.
got into the base building mindset, essentially.
Yeah.
And before, I don't
tourists
know if
were
you guys
really
did this,
on that.
before any mission, I would just sit there, place the buildings
Mhm.
as optimally as I could, and I would think about where my towers were gonna go.
Yeah, I would do that for like
Yeah.
towards the in the early mid game, but like the last like couple of deliveries, I would do that. I would like sit there and be like, if I put so I'm gonna put my thruster here because I know my
Yeah.
thruster cluster is gonna shape up to be
Yeah.
like this, and I can put my generators here and here to give them optimal power.
Yeah.
And I know I want my first couple, and then I know I want my turrets probably gonna end up looking at this, but fuck it, let's go because I don't know where the first unit's gonna dictate everything.
I have to say, one of the poor game design aspects of this, despite all the emphasis we've put on freeform building and planning, is that it falls into the
Not
pitfall
freeform.
that a lot of tower defenses do, where this one falls into it a little more harshly, I feel, than fixed path tower defenses. Because in fixed path tower defenses, you know where enemies are gonna go, and maybe there's ones that have variable paths, for example, so it might catch you off guard and you need to suddenly build a bunch of towers in an undefended area. But this one is exceptionally bad at that because it's a 360-degree field of attack. So sometimes, honestly, like if it's your first run, you just built the tower in the wrong spot. Like
you have to wait essentially. But...
Yeah, like you have to essentially wait
react.
and respond to things, but that can be very difficult for a lot of decision making because then it's like because it's hard to determine sometimes, for example, whether or not you need more firepower, because maybe it would have been more optimal to just slam a thruster in and have it start generating income at minimum, right? For you.
Yeah.
The game is very it's the anyone who's played Arknights also knows this feeling of you have to replay the level over and over again to beat it because you're figuring out when waves come, you're figuring out what enemies come where. For example, it's very clear that the level design is wave based, where like, oh, missile ships come in from the top left for the whole level, asteroids always come from the bottom, so you have to put like high damaging guns on the bottom because asteroids will fuck you up, and then you need anti-missile defenses. You need anti-missile defenses in the top left specifically, but not anywhere else on the ship, so you can't, so otherwise it'd be wasted space and wasted income because recycling only gets you back 75% of the cost. So basically it ends up being that you can't do a generalized approach of like, oh, I'm gonna always have like one sort of defense tower, one sort of attack tower here. No, it has to be, you kind of have to learn the level by playing it, which can be very frustrating.
I hate
for a lot of people, and it's also a reason.
I guess on harder mode it's probably like that, but like on, especially once you unlock the tier 3 laser turret, it's kind of like you eventually, the end game is just build a 360 of laser turrets.
Oh no,
I got railed.
Like if you put anything in the wrong spot, especially in those last ones, like you get fucked.
Yeah,
that's the same.
So what Jeffrey said makes a lot of sense.
How many resources you get, but on normal difficulty, I'd always end missions with like hundreds, if not thousands.
I'd end with thousands on a good level, but some levels really push you really hard to the limit on resources.
I only experienced that maybe on 1 or 2 levels, but otherwise it's always just reactionary. I know I can put otherwise it's usually pretty okay. Actually no, it's a couple of times I can see it, but like I didn't feel it as much as you guys probably did. I don't know.
On the so I didn't finish it yet. I have 2 levels left.
2 levels as well.
On the second to last level, I literally played it a lot, and I just think like once Jeffrey said that approach, I was just strapped for resources.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I played, I think, nearly with what I had as optimally as I could get it going.
Yeah.
But like at a certain point, like you just did not have enough bolts.
Yeah.
And I think
I was
once
like
I heard
learning
what Jeffrey said, I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That is generating income for you. You get that.
Yeah. Like I would get this far, fail, and then restart, and then I would know exactly what my first 5-7 buildings were. And then they'd come in from I wasn't prepared for that, start over again.
Well,
it's very hard
it's, to it's like trial and error. As as I'll bring back the Arknights example again, you need to know where to put the unit exactly where, and then you just keep retrying the level, getting slightly better every time. Knowing, I should have placed this here earlier next time. I should have placed this here. But you memorize the start because the start worked, right? So you build like a branching path off of that. But for a lot of people, I can imagine that would be frustrating because it can feel cheap. Because it can be like,
I hate that shit.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like,
this man hates puzzle games.
I can't just build a shield 360, right? Because what if you don't need a shield at all on the bottom left? That's where you can put your thruster. It's going to be wasted gold, right? It's a big deal in this game.
I actually stopped using shields at a certain point.
What?
No, bro, your shit gets blown up so fast.
Yeah, no, there's no way you stop using shields.
Okay.
No, I stopped using shields.
No, I'm saying there's no way I would. Sorry, there's no way I would stop.
Because the tier 3 stuff. Eventually, once you get to tier 3 stuff, even tier 2 and tier 1 generators, they have the fix it, which is usually kept alive, and the tier 3
it doesn't keep up.
No, the tier 3 turrets and missile launchers have enough bulk to resist long enough
No,
for
they
Yeah,
the
they
sh-
don't
get
have enough
blown
bulk.
up. Yeah, they,
One ship
they
comes
get like
and it,
3.
like
No.
I remember the ship had the first time the enemy ship had the Gatling gun on it, just
Yeah,
exploded my entire ship. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
Yeah, I was
And
gonna
it's-
say it's a difference of
it's a-
difficulty,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
which
I
is
don't
why
think
I'm,
you
I'm glad I
bothered-
didn't play on expert because
Okay,
I
to
probably
be
I probably
fair-
actually would have dropped the game.
There are those levels, if you guys remember from the tourist where he drops the I can't mention it, the anti-defense pulse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those
But-
levels
yeah.
you can just go full ham offense on. You just slam
Yeah,
out turrets
that
everywhere,
was
don't do
also
shields,
good.
sure.
Actually, I
But-
did have to do one shield, but yeah.
I would do
But even
shields to
even
fill in
those ones
gaps,
you had to
but yeah.
do. Loki, like it hurt though. Like you had to do like
Yeah.
because missiles hurt so bad. A thing that really bothered me, especially on this replaying thing. Like I get it. Like they can't. I mean, maybe it could if they could have shown you like a scouting map or something, so you could have an idea before you start. But like, what bothered me is when a ship's coming here.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a laser ship or a missile ship, and
you
like
can
you just
guess
literally
based
die.
off the model and the image, but yeah, you don't
Yeah.
know.
You do have to learn them
You-
too.
Yeah, you have to learn.
You'd have to learn it. I kind of wish there was just a small indicator, and it's like,
the
you
enemy
don't-
glossary doesn't
yeah.
help at all. Like the ones
Yeah.
without the player ship models that are predefined NPCs. Okay, it tells you exactly how much damage it does.
Mhm.
Great. And then when it comes to the player ship NPCs, it's like, yep, it's got guns here.
It's red.
Yeah. Is it a missile? Is it a laser? I don't know. Have fun figuring it out while you decide whether to build anti-missile defense or a shield.
or shield. Yeah. Where the game did shine for me though, I think, is when the things would blow up your grids and it would like make you pivot and you're like you feel your APM going, you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh shit, okay, that thing got blown up. I can't build this here anymore. I need
Oh,
to
yeah.
like quickly switch it.
It was
to
a
that.
great
And then-
aspect actually
That's
where the
where-
more damage you take,
Yeah.
you're limited in your tower building spaces. But
Yeah.
that
then
doesn't
you're
mean
like-
it's a game over. In a lot of tower defenses,
Yeah.
you kind of just see your life points go down. You're like, oh no, I leaked,
Yeah.
I'm dead.
Yeah,
But in this
yeah.
game, it's a little more visceral because like my entire ship is exploding and I have nowhere to build.
What like I remember specifically like one of the highlights for me in this game was this towards the end. Like I remember I like had a certain amount. My main gun got blown up, and I was like, oh shit, I'm near the end right now. And I literally just sold all my guns, slammed shields, and put down thrusters, and just like rushed it to the
Oh, I
end.
should've done
Oh,
And actually
same.
made it through with
Same,
that.
I did that.
Yeah,
I
and like
was
that's like that was a highlight moment. You're like, oh,
No,
felt
what's
good.
funny is I think it was this huge ship and it was like a big like X,
yeah,
and then at the end is literally just the two tail nubs of one
Yeah.
side and the diagonal other side. The other two diagonals got completely obliterated. It became like a slash, and it was just like
yeah.
my plan was like these asteroids are coming. It already crushed my main gun on the front, so I can't defend against them. I'm selling everything, building thrusters, and slamming boost to try to get to the end, and it just killed everything on my ship. I think that was my worst score. I
Yeah.
got 2 stars on that one.
It's there's some cool like moments in the game for sure. I think that the oh, sorry, I lost.
I
it.
like the twist. The ship twist with the build
Yeah.
with the dynamic building and the base building aspects, like those RTS vibes. It's very nice, very
Yeah,
fun. It's intuitive. The only poor game design and also the speedrunning thing is great too. It's in flavor and it incentivizes you to play again and again. The only thing that's poor, like I said, is the replayability issue, or not replayability issue, but the lack of information, the sort of gimmick. Sometimes the level gimmickiness. Yeah, you have to like learn a level. For level, you can't just 5-star level off the bat. You kind of have to.
Yeah.
Well, some levels are easy, but some of
I
them
got-
you
I
actually have
only
to
did
play
that
and
once.
Learn, yeah.
I 5-starred one level and I was like, oh shit, let's
First
go.
try?
That was the only time that
I
first
wasn't-
try,
I was
only
able to
time.
do it on replays.
I think it was. I think I did that like
Only
once
that
or
I
twice
did
on
one.
early level. Yeah,
Yeah.
but I
For
know.
normal
pretty
mode,
hard,
I was
though.
able to do that for like the first like 5 or 6 deliveries.
Hmm.
That's good.
the
Even
thing.
the first delivery, I didn't.
Yeah,
I
even the
didn't
first
get
one,
it.
I got like 3 or
Yeah.
The first one is impossible. I actually looked it up. It is
Yeah.
physically
You don't have the
impossible and
guns.
hard to
Oh,
get
yeah.
5 stars
Stats.
until you get 2 upgrades.
I
Yeah.
figured.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
You
yeah,
do-
for
you
for
do
me,
feel
it was
the-
like cascading, which I didn't like, because if you didn't
Mhm.
kill the money pinata, then you wouldn't have enough income to build your next gun
Yeah,
to defeat
yeah,
the
yeah.
enemies, which also kind of fucks you, because if you only get a 2-star on your first like delivery, you have less money to buy upgrades. So if you kind of did bad the first time, then
Yeah.
by the 6th or 7th mission, you either have to, well, you basically have to go back and grind
Yeah,
something because you don't have enough money.
That's pretty much why I grinded, because I think if you look at the stream VODs for my star ratings, literally the tourist thing is literally all 1 stars
Oh,
and
yeah.
2 stars.
Jesus.
Like literally, like I would end the missions with pretty much all of the
One
tourists
dude,
dead.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me
Did
too.
you guys not
Terry
push shields
hated
for
them,
them?
dude.
No,
No.
fuck them.
What?
Shields,
You didn't
shields
put
are for the guns.
I pushed shields for them.
Oh,
Like
I tried once,
Yeah,
and I'm
no,
like, oh my
I put
god,
you-
I have to make a level 3 shield to block the highest tier tourists because they're so fat.
it doesn't
No.
have to block the whole thing. It just needs to block
No,
it.
you-
half.
it has
And
to
then
be
you
the
just
closest
mass
to the
It
compare
has to
gun.
because
Yeah.
because sometimes they'll get shot
Some-
from the
yeah,
other side
that's
that
true.
the shield, which is why I stopped using shields, because the same thing applied to
no.
The
the
guns.
bulky turrets, the bulky
Yeah,
guns.
you do it on a you don't have to cover shit. It's an aggro basis. Like it's the closest thing to the enemy ship is what gets shot.
Oh, that
So you
that
place
thing
your
is
shields
also
like that.
pissed me off. The
But sometimes
freaking
your guns will
turret, the
shoot.
turret AI,
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah. Your guns also were stupid.
mainly
Yeah.
against asteroids. That's it.
No, not even
No.
that. Against enemy things, they wouldn't focus the guns. They would just focus whatever's closest.
Yeah,
It's
there's
closest,
that,
yeah.
but in my experience, you just had to have enough firepower.
It's
That's
just
all
a
that
hard-
matters.
yeah,
Like all
it's
enemies
easy.
are just DPS checks, like in any other tower defense, right? But like asteroids are where the AI fucks you, because if you have 2 guns pointing straight and one asteroid's closer than the other, but to that other gun it's not, right? So it'll shoot at an asteroid that's not gonna hit your ship, and then there's only one gun shooting the asteroid on collision course, and that's it. You just lose. You just
fun-
lose because it obliterates like 3 or 4 sections.
Fun glitch, the kinetic shot ability off the tier 2 cannon tower, I think, prevents that turret from being able to lock on to missiles while that ability is active.
Dude.
It'll
On a
lock
missile?
onto
Where?
asteroids. It's the one that makes it do
Oh, the
more
rocket.
damage
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
slows down the attack
I didn't
speed.
have that bug. I activate against asteroids all the
I-
time and it was fine.
I had it. to the
So
point
sometimes they
where-
would just miss.
They would
I had
miss.
it-
Okay, yeah, I
but
was saying
everything
that too.
misses. Yeah.
Sometimes my missiles would miss the giant
Yeah.
asteroids, and I'm just like,
And
bro,
you're just like,
what
oh
is
my God.
this?
Yeah.
I
It's
used
like,
to
how are
I
you
used to
missing?
think rockets were the counter to asteroids, because there's like a few levels
Yeah,
early game
no,
that kind of
it's-
suggest that
yeah.
with the unlock progression.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then later I kind of just realized it was heavy laser all the way.
Heavy laser was the
just-
answer to
Heavy
everything.
laser
though,
just
bro.
covers everything. yeah.
Like Loki, you put it. Actually, so the tier 2 one, I did love that laser gun.
Yeah, the
That
the,
laser
the,
gun
the,
was
the
kinda-
double-headed laser.
It's because so
the vertical
that level
progression was
Mitchell.
least apparent there, because
Yeah.
you're trading a coverage for more damage and
Yeah.
space efficiency
Yeah.
essentially, which is really nice.
Yeah,
Because I used a lot of
The-
because also they fill in the gaps really nice and they do pretty good damage for.
the level where you see the Gatling for the first time, I remember I got through it because I would snipe it with that gun, because that gun actually has further range
Oh, really?
than the Gatlings. Yeah, they have further outrange, just thinner inside.
I used an ion
But yeah.
cannon to tag it before the ion cannon got disabled, so that my
ion
Gatling
cannons
could
were
out
nice.
DPS their Gatling. But
I will
so
say
it was a close thing.
regarding the ion cannon, actually most turrets were useful, which is nice. Some of these,
Yeah.
it was helpful that it helped that the selection was limited, but usually there's still like
Okay,
like two or three
ion
turrets that are
though,
just
the ion
kinda
cannon and
whatever.
the ultimate of that one, the super defense
Yeah.
turrets were actually kind of busted.
Oh yeah,
I never
did-
I
used
didn't
the
use them.
super
I didn't use
defense.
them
I
at all.
didn't. I didn't use.
I
the
didn't
super
afford the super defense
turret,
turret.
But
I didn't use the ion turret for the longest time until I just randomly I skipped directly to the super one and I put it down once just to see what it would do. I'm like, wait, this is actually busted. And
It
I went back
was-
and I upgraded the ion tower and the missile defense.
Yeah. It's good
Yeah.
against ships. Yeah.
but basically it was nice that most towers were.
The only
I
thing I felt like
Even the
I
tier one,
wonder
the
if you
tier
guys
one.
got usage.
go ahead, Kevin.
If you guys got usage on I didn't like the larger shields. I felt like they just didn't really.
Tier 2
work
shields
for
are
me too
definitely
often.
worth it. Tier 3 is
Yeah, the big
good
big,
if
I
you
was
can
because
find
you have to
the
place it too
space, but
far.
it's a luxury.
You have to place it too far behind. I like putting my shields.
No, you
closer
If
put
you
it
could
in the
find a
middle.
good
You wanna-
spot for them and they could like fully cover something, they'd be useful. But I did find they were less useful than you
It's
might
hard
have
to find space
expected.
In the mid to
Yeah.
late game, there's a couple of ship designs that
Yeah,
pretty
FPC
clearly
ships.
kind of just say, "This is a huge hexagon. Put a tier 3 shield in the middle of this huge
Yeah.
hexagon." But towards the end game, because the end game there's still a couple of space constrained designs. even like I think one of the last missions I was having trouble putting heavy lasers on the front because there was so little space. I think I ended up putting heavy stuff in the back, and I ended up using the front
I think
as
I know which
shields.
mission you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. But
but once I unlocked heavy laser turret, I just spammed heavy laser turret.
Yeah,
I
didn't
spammed
even-
it too with
okay.
the cascade.
Yeah,
With the
and I would
cascading.
optimize it. I would optimize the early game because
Well, it's
me,
'cause-
I actually like the puzzle of figuring out like the early
Yeah.
game and then rolling that
Yeah,
momentum through to
I
the
like
rest of the thing.
like the thing about the gimmick in the early game. If you build the wrong turret in the early game and you die, that's fine. It's only a minute. I don't like it when it's minute 8 or 9 into the delivery and something pops out and I'm like, fuck.
Mhm.
Like a really key example is boss spawn. What if
Oh,
you
yeah.
orient all your turrets like top right, bottom right,
Yeah,
and then the
yeah,
boss
yeah.
spawns top left, and you're just
Actually,
Sometimes you just get
actually, in
bodied
that
and have to
case, you
restart.
can.
You can pivot.
I know it's not technically.
Yeah.
You can recycle and start building, but between when the warning for the boss shows up and when the boss actually starts talking to you. If
Yeah.
you let the
Yeah.
cutscene play, your stuff builds in the cutscene.
oh my god.
Oh, really?
Wow.
Your stuff will continue to build in the cutscene of the boss saying like,
That
"I'm here to take."
that's
the
a
thing."
nice trick, but you shouldn't rely on that to beat the bad boss spawn. But the most evident part about the sort of like wave-based replayability issue is that something critical like a boss spawn, you don't know where it's gonna be, and that can just fuck your entire run. For me, whenever I saw the boss marker on a mission, I just basically knew I was gonna get like a 2 or 3 star, and I would have to replay it to get a 5 star because
Yeah.
you can't guarantee that all your turrets are just magically gonna be at the.
Because it needs to really be where the boss starts.
Because
Yeah.
the
Like,
key is if you want to
it's
get
so
5
hard if
stars,
they are.
one section of your ship, whether it's top left or bottom left or back middle, has to be devoted thrusters, which is so if it's devoted thrusters, it's
Yeah.
probably not going to have too many shields. It's probably not going to have space for guns. So you're going to have one part of your ship that's hard to defend. And if you're unlucky and you built it right where the boss is going to spawn, well, there goes your 5 star. You're definitely not getting a 5 star.
Yeah, because I was wondering, I was looking at the play times and I saw, Jeff, that you had like 26 hours.
Okay, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I AFK'd. Probably like at least 10 of those hours idle in the main menu. But I did play a fair amount. Probably 16 hours. Yeah, it was close. I got 4 to 5 stars on every level. Because I did go back and replay.
Yeah, once I hit the tourist thing, and I was like, I don't like this mechanic that much.
I
just gave up.
thought that's what I felt too. But then I kind of went back to it, and I kind of appreciated again like the puzzle building aspect. The game is much more enjoyable once you know what the level's gonna be like. But then for a lot of people, that's frustrating. I still get that frustration even, where I have to play the level first, accept I'm gonna get a 3 star, and then have to replay it later to get the 5 star. But yeah,
It's really hard to plan, especially for the tourist one when you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like it's hard to orient where you want to put them.
Honestly, so I also was like, I was like, fuck this game. At a certain point, I was like, I don't want to figure it out. So I looked it up, like 5-star builds, which actually kind of made it more fun for me because even though it shows you like kind of an optimal
Cheater.
build, you still have to figure out how to get there, right? So
Yeah.
you know how you're getting there, but
Yeah.
you don't know exactly the order, which is still.
well, the
Still a
fun part
puzzle.
is that you learn strategies you might not have thought of, and now you can apply
Yeah.
it to future runs if you don't look it up.
Also,
Yeah.
Did you guys use hotkeys?
Yes.
No. I
Oh
should've.
yeah.
I
What?
didn't in the early game, but I
Yeah.
quickly learned
I
with the
do.
amount of micro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew Mitchell's answer was
Yeah.
going to be no.
No, you had to I definitely made a mental note. At the beginning, I was clicking, and then I was like, no, I definitely have to start learning these hotkeys.
Yeah, right. Because you're starting to micro, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh god, I have to
Yeah, yeah.
switch this turn, switch
Especially
this
when
turn,
you're
activate
doing-
this ability here, and you're like, clicking is not
No,
fast
like
enough.
What Terry said, yeah, like I definitely did that in a couple times where the boss comes and you like you basically like it's like a sell down. Like you sell
Yeah, it's
down
literally- it's
all
like
your
click
shit
Z, click
and
Z,
you
click Z,
rebuild
click
your
Z, and
entire
then
ship in
immediately,
like 20
one-
seconds.
1 Q,
Yeah.
set up all the heavies, and then set up all
Yeah.
the light machine guns. And then
You're just like boom, 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 boom.
I probably
Yeah.
should have learned them. I actually didn't even see the. I
They're-
didn't really
it's
pay
super
attention to
intuitive.
it.
It's 1 for offensive, 2
They're
for
actually
defensive, 3
pretty-
for
yeah.
utility.
I saw
then-
that.
And then
Yeah.
AW,
Yeah, QAZ,
Q.
W, that row. And then each of the abilities just goes around in a circle where Z is always
On
sell.
left.
Z is always sell.
Yeah.
W is usually the
Yeah.
first ability you buy for them, and then D is the second.
Yeah. And the
Well, think
E
about it from a
is like-
position of the hexagon, right?
Yeah.
Q A Z E D.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like E is the top right, Z is the bottom left. Well, cell is always bottom left.
Good hotkeys.
But so I
Yeah.
came at it, when I first started playing the game, I came at it from like an RTS angle. So I was like Kevin, I was like, oh yeah, thrusters. I gotta maximize that long-term income, and then I'm building workers, right, between building
Yeah.
towers, and then like I gotta do hotkeys, right, like what, because the game actually gets pretty micro intensive,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
during big fights. You're like, I have to replenish shield, right, or else
Complete
you
the
lose turret, you
shield,
lose. 'Cause
recharge the shield.
that's your only turret on
activate
that
this
section of the
ability.
ship. And then you have to activate abilities to kill key units, and then you have to, heal, stuff like that.
I hated that
like-
sometimes a run would be lost because like my micro was bad and I like didn't hit the recharge shield and then your
Yeah.
turret blew up and then they just steamrolled
You're focusing on one part, meanwhile
Yeah.
the enemy's got your
Yeah.
marines surrounded with zerglings on the bottom right.
Yeah.
I know.
That was actually my favorite part of the game.
Really?
Those micro
The,
elements.
the
of it,
micro
yeah.
was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I
think
think
a
that
big contribution to the micro was that range switching turret. There was a lot of range switching
Yeah,
for me.
yeah.
And like, because the optimal coverage angles, you could, two turrets could actually perform the job of three if you just properly manage the range switching, which
Yeah.
was great.
was
for
cool.
micro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The orienting it. Yeah.
It was cool, but I was definitely surprised
felt like
at how
that-
micro heavy it was.
Oh yeah. But
I
found
felt
it-
like that was like the intro too, because the end game turrets you can't reorient them.
Yeah.
Really. So like it's like, but the beginning, you do reorient them a lot, and that's before you have a bunch of other turrets.
I
So it actually
find
is pretty.
the end game
sing-
micro
beginning
changes.
ones.
It goes from
Yeah,
the
it's
micro
different.
reorientation style to the ability style. Basically, you're going because you're
Yeah.
flooded with so much credits towards the end game. Once you've figured out you have to kill
Yeah.
enemies and stuff. I was gonna say early game, you think it's worker economy like a RTS, but then you realize how much money those NPC ships have, and every time you let one go, you're losing out on way more money. Because if you built a thrust, spent money on a thruster and told it to make income, it's actually better to just make the gun, right? Because you get more money and you just get to use that gun.
Yeah, the biggest I learned that like super well. It's like it was super late where I actually like thought of that of like, oh yeah, you probably want to capture as many of the kills early. Was I know it because it was the mission I grinded. Was AI delivery 3 or 4. It's I think the second mission where you get introduced to the ones that require a power. Yeah. The one where you're basically building a hexagon, and then it's the one where it introduces the bombers, the ones that throw the little bombs
Oh, I
that
hate
your
those
turrets
guys.
can shoot those. I learned how to optimize that because I figured out that the base turret, at least in normal mode, the base turret is enough on its own to delay the bomber.
One
the
tier
tier
2
the
turret
tier
can handle
2
one bomber.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the tier
yeah,
2
yeah.
can actually handle and kill the bomber.
Yes.
What you need for the money.
Yeah, but then also you eventually want to replace those with the tier 3 lasers because the tier 3 lasers can actually handle the other
Multiple.
threats that would come
Yeah.
later. Yeah, multiples
What?
as well as the threats later on.
That's like it was horizontal, but like that tier 3 laser was good because it handled enemies and asteroids.
Yeah.
So like it was just
Because
very
asteroids split into
useful in
smaller
all
chunks,
regards.
so you need, and also missiles
Yeah.
can't shoot small ones, so you need something that can
Yeah.
handle swarms and just do high DPS. That's just the
Also,
heavy
low
laser.
key, the back facing asteroids, the tier 2 boosters with the
thrusters.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. The burn. Yeah.
That was really
Love the
cool.
burn.
Really, I thought a really clever bit of like sort of
Yeah.
a progression that makes it different.
gives
from
the
other
defense.
Yeah,
too.
when I read that, I was like, why would this ever be useful?
That would
And then
come
you see the
up.
giant ass asteroid and you're like, oh, burn it.
I forgot which boss it was, but there's one I burned to death. I think I had like 6 thrusters on his ass. It was just
It feels good too when you. It's the micro where you have the tier 2 generator, radiant power to everything, activate the burn, all your thrusters. Feel like a
Oh, for
space
me,
captain.
I would put them with
Yeah.
a power 1, and then I would just hit.
Yeah.
It's the D key, dude. D to overcharge the power 1.
yeah,
D D D D D on the boost on all of them. Felt so good. But
Honestly,
the power one's
the
only
space
adjacent,
constraint
right?
thing
Yeah.
for that we were talking about, where like as you go up in tier, the space constraint becomes more problem. I
Yeah.
really like how that played out, specifically in the generators,
Mhm.
because I actually found myself not building the tier 3 like all the time for the tier 3 turrets. Sometimes I would find
The-
myself building
the
tier 2
generators are more
plus a
generous.
tier 2 plus a little baby
Shield.
one to get the 3 power on the thing.
Generator,
Or I built
yeah.
instead of building one of the little triangle, and one of the triangle ones, I'd build the 2 baby
I
ones
built
to
a
give 2
lot
power.
of tier 1. filling in gaps is basically putting tier 1 power plants to make your weapons have the ability to shoot their ability, then putting in missile defense, and then putting in for me
defenses.
if I had any empty space left, I would just start slamming the tier 1 missile launcher just everywhere, just in all the tiny gaps.
Because it says in the description they're easy to place.
Yeah. But I was gonna say earlier, oh man, yeah, the micro changes to ability base. Yeah, so it goes from orientation of structures more to just using the abilities at the right time. Using the shield harden on the tier 2 is very critical. Using the recharges, because enemies start doing so much damage, you need to make full use of recharge whenever you can. Recognizing which enemies need like a heavy laser ability used on them, for example, like which ones you can get away with just shooting down, very key. So the micro changes, which is interesting, and this is my biggest gripe with the game. There's no pause button.
Yes.
You have to hit escape, and the screen gets grayed out, and I just like a nice bright screen with a pause, so I can sit there and think. Every other tower defense has a 1x, 2x, and a pause. This game has no 2x, has no pause, and I'm just sitting there in early game like, please, I want to get to the part where I'm killing shit. Don't make me play out the econ.
Also, though, like, one thing, the normal tower defense has waves, right?
Yeah.
So in between waves, you can sit, you can think. Usually, you're not having to build too much in the middle of the way, so you can just kind of, think about it, see how things are going. You cannot do this in this game. You cannot really see how your turrets are doing. You have to always be building. Yeah. And because there's no pause button and there's no pause between waves, it's gets very.
That's on hard mode. On normal mode, you can during the enemy attacks, you don't necessarily can like chill, but you can watch and like analyze the state of the thing for a couple seconds. Like if your things start getting low, you swap to the tier 2 and hit recharge or repair, mass repair.
Maybe my micro is just bad, but there's a lot of times where I lost the mission because there's like, oh shit, the shield went down and my heavy laser got destroyed.
Yep.
And I'm just like,
I had that.
I wasn't paying attention. I was busy managing abilities on like the left side. The right side got fucked. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah. I really wish. This is a weird thing. The game puts so much emphasis on base building, but also real-time strategy. I really appreciate the real-time aspect also separates it from those traditional tower defenses more. But I do wish there was still a pause button to emphasize the base building parts, because it feels like base building gets lost a little bit with the franticness.
Yep.
Or maybe I'm just bad at micro.
No, I think there's just too much going on. You can't really think about like the perfect placement when you're just like, I need to get a gun down there right now.
Honestly, on really intense levels, half my time is spent on that escape menu. Like I'm like in the middle of battle, I'll escape and I'll just be like, okay, reassess the situation. Like, do I need shields here soon? Right? Do I need to what do I need to build really quickly so I can go back to focusing on using abilities? Right?
This is the thing where it's like I can't tell if it's hard mode.
I suffered lost and replayed the level.
I never felt that on normal mode.
I paused so much towards the end.
I never felt the need to pause.
I never paused. I just lost. That's a lot smarter.
I
literally would lose, replay the level, know where I lost.
The voice line of one of the parts going down, and I'd look over.
That's your insurance. Now I know why your insurance premiums are so high.
And then on normal mode, I guess because the damage is so much lower compared to what I'm anticipating hard mode is, I'd have time to replace it without too much else going wrong. If I could get a repair started,
you would do the.
If I get repairs started on like one or two of the tier 2 generators.
The funniest thing is towards the end game, when on those end levels where you get thousands of credits, it's just like, oh shit, something's dying, and you have like 6 of the tier 3 generator. Boom, renew. Boom, renew. Boom, renew. Just over and over again. Everything gets healed to full health. Boom, renew for 200 credits, and it's just like, okay.
Yeah, you could do. There were some fun parts from that hecticness, I feel though. Like, I remember if my tier 3 turret died, you can do some quick things with like, oh yeah, let's pivot to a tier 2 turret, and you can slam a generator down there that builds faster and stuff like that. Like you can have that going on.
That was the sad thing though, because of the shape thing. Normally the power, the space that you're powering for the tier 3, because you can optimize it to where you're only powering exactly one spot on the bigger turret, the bigger buildings, to get them to the power that they need from the generators. but that usually means you're not pushing that power all the way to the very edge of the ship. So, for example, for the tier 3 gun, if that goes down and you want to replace it with tier 2 gun,
Oh yeah.
you also have to put a generator because you're most likely not
Yeah.
powering the very edge unless you
Yep.
go to your other generators and click radiant power.
Yeah.
And it's like
Radiant power
it's an
is pretty
interesting
clutch.
decision at that point. Yeah, but I also learned
Yeah.
the whole trade off thing. So I remember in the early game, you're like, I thought about, I was like, wait, I could let this ship go, or I could let this friendly go, or I could click the rapid fire on the tier 1 turret,
Oh yeah,
waste
no,
50
yeah.
credits to get
Yeah.
100 credits.
You always
Yeah,
use the
yeah,
rapid
yeah.
fire or whatever, the laser.
You
to
have
get
to
the-
kill things essentially.
Worth it every time.
Mhm.
That's how it's designed. Yeah, I guess just back on like the base building and like the franticness. Like I looked at the pictures and I wanted to make this beautiful ship. You know,
Yeah.
it's like, oh wow, everywhere is covered, but you can get some.
I'm
fucked
kind of a
up ships.
perfectionist.
Yeah, me too.
No, I always knew that. Okay, and even when I
Oh,
play
but
other
the
tower
pause, I
defense
guess.
games, I'm like, oh man, I lost here. I leaked your fuck this level. I'm restarting, you know. But in this game, it was extra like that because it was like, there's asteroid kill 4 panels. I'm restarting.
I'm not perfectionist at all. You should see some of my end thing builds are like there's spaces everywhere that I didn't bother to fill, and like things are kind of
No,
misaligned.
No, I became a perfectionist
think
out
he
of
means-
necessity, honestly. But
Yeah. I think they mean playtime, like in play perfectionist, like you restart it if you like have
Oh,
a bad
yeah.
start or something.
Yeah.
But that also
That's
applied
what
to
you're
my
talking about, yeah.
Yeah, I was
My base
thinking
building
Jeff.
was
For Jeff,
not
it probably applies
perfectionist
to his
at
base
all.
building.
oh no, not for base building.
It was too frantic. Too much was happening.
No, that's why I sat there before the game. I'd be like, okay,
Yeah, that's
so,
why he
and I know,
paused,
like,
'cause
I'll
he's
be
like-
like, I know the boss is
Yeah,
coming here because this is my 3rd time playing this level. Okay, so I
Yeah,
need to put
yeah.
this here and here, you know, and here.
My other huge quality of life gripe is there's no way to undo while it's building. There are a couple
Yes.
times when I'd
Yes.
misclick and I'd
Yeah,
be like,
yeah, yeah.
no, no, no.
I probably restarted
restart.
levels 50, probably restarted levels like 50 times, being like, oh, I built the wrong thing on accident with the hotkeys. Or like,
Yeah.
oh, I built it in the
Yeah,
wrong
yeah, yeah.
spot. Okay, I'm unhappy now. I'm restarting.
There's also the you accidentally activate an ability.
Yeah.
And now you have to I get why you can't
That
sell
actually
it right
cost
after
me
you
a
use
Yeah.
light
it.
speed once.
It makes sense. But like it's like or you activate the wrong ability on accident.
Yeah.
Okay, that
Activating
that's
it
a
with
user
tactical
thing, though,
braking
so
instead
I'm
of
okay with
boosting
that.
on the tier 1 boosters.
Those happen.
No. I
But
was
those
on
are-
speed
those
for
are still
light speed, and
misclicks,
I was,
though.
That was the
Like,
end of
it's
the
like
level.
a-
I killed the boss. I'm running towards light speed delivery 5-star, right? And I go to hit
Yeah.
boost on all the thrusters. I hit E.
Do you hit tactical brake on
I
all of
hit
them?
E like
Yeah.
4 times. I was like, oh fuck, they're not boosting. I'm
Yeah,
like, fuck,
yeah.
no.
I also never
It's just a
unlocked the
misclick. But
I was
yeah.
looking at it. I was like, the value proposition for the tier 3 thrusters didn't seem that worth. I guess the abilities are what makes it good. But I
I
was like,
used it once. I
It slows
agree.
time.
yeah, because I was like, I'm pretty sure for that space, 2-tier. Yeah, it's the abilities. But I'm like, for pure thrust power, I'm pretty sure the 2 tier ones
The
and
shape's
a
a
tier
little
2 is
different,
better.
too.
For pure thrust power, it's tier 2.
Yeah.
But
You can
for
fit 3.
the ability, actually, the
roughly.
ability is very good. There's sort of a moment if you want to cheese it. If you have enough space on your ship, if you can kind of just chain together the
The
hyper
warping
jump,
over.
yeah, and just kind of you're in a bad spot. Just slam together hyper jumps, and then just get to the end.
What were you saying, Kevin?
I don't know.
Yeah, but one other thing that I really wish there was the undo button is every time you put a thruster right, it does like a to show you speeding up.
Yeah.
And one time it shifted, and as I clicked, and I built my thing wrong, and
Oh,
ruined
that
the
almost
whole
happened to me
run.
on the last level. I would have been so mad. Like I actually was like, bro, that could have fucked me.
because it like
Mhm.
moves. And, oh god. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, the ship is too. I wish you could zoom in. Another small quality of life thing. Sometimes like the ship is
Yeah.
tiny compared to the size of the map. I just want to zoom in a little bit.
I think there is a zoom button. I
there?
accidentally clicked the
There-
button.
there's a-
that
there's a
zoomed
limit,
out.
All right, so yeah, I think zooming in and out was. I thought it was too zoomed in, like you kind of had to move around a little bit. But I guess Kevin, you said there's another zooming tool.
I don't know how I did it, but I just pressed the button and you could definitely zoom in.
I thought the
It
scroll
got pretty
wheel
close,
zoomed in and
too.
out.
I
Did
tried
not?
to do
No,
that.
I don't-
Obviously, you'd think
I
of
don't think
scroll,
so.
but yeah.
Yeah. Bro, it was like a button on the keyboard. It was pretty weird.
Plus or minus maybe. I
I'd say
didn't have too much of an
overall-
issues with it, but yeah.
Yeah, like overall, that's kind of indicative of the game. Like all the core stuff is pretty well polished, like art, sound
Mhm.
effects, uh, gameplay. But there's like a couple of features. I wish there was a pause. I wish there was a 2x button. Things like that.
Yeah. Oh, my other thing, I would have gladly been a bitch and turned down my difficulty, but you could not do that within your save file. You were locked in.
Oh,
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was no way to do it. You had to make a new one. I was like,
this is just a little bit of that flash game jank. It
Modern
gives it a little texture.
game design principles. Sadness.
Yeah,
Change your
it's called
difficulty.
don't be a
That's-
baby, Mitchell.
Yeah, being able to change difficulty on a save file anytime is definitely more modern.
yeah.
Okay,
design.
okay,
Yeah.
a pause button and a 2x button
That's
is
true.
not modern game design. That's
2x.
just tower defense basic. I'm
I feel like
actually
especially
confused.
a pause button
Yeah.
for this type of game.
I'm actually confused why they didn't have it. But
I
oh
guess
well.
it could have been an actual
They
decision.
might have wanted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they
might have
really wanted
the
to push the
franticness.
like they
Yeah.
said the micro angle, which is I guess interesting,
Yeah.
but I feel like it does a bit of a disservice to the base build.
Yeah, because they definitely differentiated from a normal tower defense pretty well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of at odds with base building and micro heavy. So yeah, I guess I don't have too much else to say. It was, there's some interesting things they did, and obviously some frustrations. But does anyone else have any?
Oh, how much do you guys know? Well, I guess Kevin and Mitchell, both of you guys still have like the final mission to beat.
Yeah.
Do you know how much reputation you are at now? Like how many stars you've collected?
I'm around 100.
I was like 90.
Oh,
121 something.
Jesus.
Because I
I
4 or
ended-
5-starred like every mission.
Yeah, I ended it at exactly 100.
To be honest, so reputation does unlock guns or more upgrades, quote unquote. But you get so much rep, like there's way more
Yeah.
rep than the amount of rep needed to unlock everything.
Well, you need a minimum. I forget what the minimum requirement is to unlock the final mission.
There's a
there's
minimum
certain-
requirement for the final mission.
Yeah.
There is a minimum requirement for each of the missions. I was definitely getting really close to not having enough reputation after like they give you like 2 or 3 of the tourist missions in a row, and I just didn't give a shit about them.
You treated the rich too poorly. Now they shall no longer give you contract.
Yeah, but like I said, I just didn't have fun in that section, so I was like, let me just get through this as fast as possible.
I will say that was
Oh, the big guy died. That's more space for a heavy turret.
yeah. It was actually really effective. I don't know, gameplay into like whatever messaging they were trying to sell, but like you were really like fuck the rich. Like it worked for me. I was like fuck these people. They need windows and shit. They don't need windows.
I mean,
they need
I
not
didn't
die.
like them, but I need those 5 stars, baby.
I guess I had no such qualms about letting them die.
I kind of dislike the
Under-
energy crystals because
Mm,
I like
those.
power, and it's optimal to put them around your command thingy, but then you can't
Mhm.
get the magnet thingy, which is very, very slightly inconvenient.
It's funny because I never did
Well,
the magnet.
To be fair, yeah, by the time
never
I actually like understood the power of like especially the free the 2 power for 20% or like 10 or 20% thruster boost. I'd already finished
yeah.
most of the crystal missions.
Oh, me, I just slam more thrusters in. Just said fuck
Yeah.
it. I'll just surround the command core with the crystals, and then
Yeah.
I'll just
Yeah, like I said, I didn't realize the power of the upgraded command center until the AI missions where they just give you
I
a fully
upgraded
upgraded.
it. I upgraded
I
it,
didn't.
and when I
There-
did, I tried to use it,
Yeah,
but I didn't.
there was a
like,
bunch I intentionally skipped.
Even I didn't upgrade everything. I never
Yeah.
finished I've upgraded everything except the ultimate defense cannon thing. I didn't
Yeah.
That's
upgrade.
still really
I
cool.
never unlocked the tier
Yeah.
3 thrusters. I unlocked the tier 3
Mhm.
generator very late. And like I said, I didn't unlock the missile. I unlocked the ultimate defense before the missile defense, the tier 2 defense. I literally unlocked the tier 2 defense. One last thing, the tier 2 defense, like literally like the second to last mission.
The tier 2 shield is really good. The shape is really easy to fit in, and it's really
Yeah.
nice. The fidget spinner shape is really good. And because it's kind of long but thin, which makes it ideal for connecting to power sources because it has so much area. But then it has, thin, so then you can put things in between, right? Like turrets.
It feels nice.
But then the tier 3 one, when you use, you'll realize, wow, everything in here is just invincible. Like nothing dies. The thing has like 5,000 health and it has the recharge ability.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think I unoptimally went and bought the first level of everything. I like knew when I was
Yeah.
doing that, I don't think this is the way.
You
But I just
kinda-
wanted to see what it did.
I want to try it.
Kind of the
Yeah.
issue with the progression is the third level is always boring because it's always just a passive
But
straight
it's good.
upgrade.
It's good though.
But it's
but
good.
it's solid,
Yeah, and
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
actually bad, like you said, to go first and everything because you want
Yeah.
that 50% damage increase or like
The
25%
missiles
attack
are
speed
yeah.
increase.
Are so good.
Yeah.
It was just like kind of. There was definitely, I think mid to late game was hardest for me also because I made some suboptimal research decisions. I think I put a lot of points into the third thruster, which is good, but not like as good as the tier 3 missile or the tier 3
missile's good.
shield. I think like the tier 3 thruster comparatively was not,
Yeah.
so I struggled a bit.
Right. Anyone else have anything they want to add about the game?
We covered everything. Liam O'Brien, steal my heart.
Oh, and I do want to mention, I guess, it was $5, so business practice wise, I think it was. I mean, I got my dollars worth. I played
Premium flash.
15 hours, I think, 14 hours, and haven't even finished it. So
If you
for
like
$5.
if you like tower defense flash games and if you like micromanagement, this is a great game. If you are impatient and don't like replaying things, this is not the game for you.
Right. Which
Yeah.
does bring me to kind of our wrap up. But if you had, if you didn't have, if you had started it, would you have finished it? And I guess I can go first. I'll be the first who picked the game and would not have done it. I thought I was gonna like this game, but I thought it was gonna be a lot more tower defense base buildy, and it was very micro intensive. And I hate replaying missions just because you got it wrong. I do like difficulty, but I hate difficulty that's kind of not almost like contrived. Like I hate getting like one shot is not fun to me. I don't like getting perfect. Getting close to perfect is fine, but truly perfect, like having to practice a build order every time, getting one shot in a game, like a Dark Souls or something, I don't find that fun, so I did not enjoy it. Multiple times throughout this game, I was like, I remember beating levels and not being happy for accomplishment, but relief that I didn't have to replay them anymore, which was not good. And there were
Fair.
multiple times I got up and I was like, fuck this game. Because I had to replay it too many times, or there was something that annoyed me. So even though I wanted to like it, surprisingly,
Yeah.
even though it checks most of my boxes, I didn't really like it. Would not have finished. You can go, Terry.
I thought we were just going in roll call order.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was confused why you were asking. I guess I can go first. I was like, we always do roll call order for this.
No, we're mixing it up.
Sometimes
this time.
whoever,
You go,
usually it's
Terry.
whoever picks it goes last.
Has
but-
thoughts.
Really? I thought we always just did roll call order.
Just go.
No. Fine. I would not. I got bored halfway through. I got bored and didn't really want to play it. There's a reason, if you go back to the stream VODs, there's a reason I missed a couple of the stream dates. I just did not really like. I enjoyed learning about the game in the beginning, and I enjoyed like the last couple of levels, but the mid game was just, I was not having a good time, and I definitely would have said I am done with this game. Like I said, I think it was around stream 3 where I was like, yeah, I could stop this game. I could stop playing this game and be perfectly happy. I have other things I'd rather be doing. And if I get to that
Xenoblade.
playing a game, I'm like, yeah, I probably would have dropped it.
About similar, yeah.
I blame Xenoblade Chronicles 3 for distraction.
Yeah, Xenoblade.
I guess Jeffrey. I think Kevin's gonna be most interesting.
Why?
Mitchell, earlier you said something about forgot. Oh, you don't like how you have to be really perfect, right? And something like
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually don't mind learning things like that. Like I like that feeling of
Yeah.
overcoming it. I know the relief you're talking about after being a level, but I like that kind of thing. It was like a good relief. But I also had the same feeling. I would definitely. There's like a 70% chance I would have finished it. I think I did enjoy the progression. I did enjoy some of the level designs. I thought I didn't like the building constraints, but the more I played it and the more I thought about it, it was kind of nice. The really key thing is I think it was kind of brought me back to janky childhood Flash game days, which was like pretty nice.
That's what I
Even like I
thought.
said, it's missing a lot of little features that make you really feel like one guy made it in a basement.
See, that's what I thought, and then I also realized, oh, I don't have the patience to play these kinds of games
To be honest, the level is
like I
only
did
top
before.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
the other
Okay,
thing is
good.
also just that
To beat it once.
there's actually quite a variety of strategies you could do to win. It's not really set, but it is frustrating when you hit minute 8 in a mission and then something blindsides you. You know, there's no reasonable way to predict it, right? So, but I mean, that is part of the game. You're supposed to dynamically adapt. That is why recycling towers is there for. I can't fault.
Kevin?
The verdict. Oh, did Jeffrey give his verdict?
Yeah.
He said 70%
Yes.
chance he would.
Oh, okay. What, we're doing percentages now?
I mean,
Or
there's
is it yes or
definitely.
no?
I mean, okay,
Black or
there was a
white?
point where it was a little rough, where I was kind of like, I'm not feeling the tourist
Mhm.
missions, right? And I'm not feeling like the crystal missions.
Okay. I think if I were to play it, I think I would have stopped exactly where I got to playing it
The
this
last
morning.
mission.
But it's interesting though, because yeah, I think it's interesting because it's almost the opposite reason to like Mitchell's why I want to stop. So I actually, like Jeffrey said, like I enjoy needing to get something down perfectly. Like I like those types of things. I don't mind repeating something till I get it right. So on a lot of the missions, like when I mess up my micro, I'm like, oh, I didn't hit that shield and I lost a minute 8. I'm not that mad. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna do it. And it, when you perfectly orchestrate it, I like it. But why I think I would have stopped like around where I was because I hit a point where I couldn't even get to minute 4. Like I felt like I was like kind of I was teched out. Like I needed to go back and get some money and like unlock certain tech tree resources when I was reading it. Because I remember once I was repeating it enough, I was like, damn, my strat's not working. I tried the different things. Then I looked
It's
at the
optimal, right?
research trees.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I think if I had like this ability, it would make this one easier. I remember the first time that happened, I was like, oh, if I have the booster, that can trivialize this part of the map, then I can build my whole thing around this or that. And like, definitely when I got to that, I was like, I don't know if I want to replay anything. And then I think I might have just been good there. Because it's interesting for it to be a no, because I enjoyed playing the game throughout most of it, I think. I just can't grind, man.
Not a finish, but a 90% yes.
I wouldn't have finished it, but I probably would have gotten to like most way through. Yeah.
90%. Yeah, we both of us had 2 missions outstanding. But to be honest, like you do get essential, you really understand the whole game once you've got that far. Even earlier, like it doesn't fundamentally change very much.
Yeah. Maybe if there's a narrative reason
I
for me
think
to want to
it
push
does
through,
change.
Yeah.
I would.
The micro
Yeah.
gameplay changes towards the end because, like I said, you start
Yeah.
using abilities a lot more. Maybe that was
Yeah, but like last 5 missions is still like
Yeah.
similar.
Yeah. There was nothing pulling me to suffer through, you know?
Right.
I need a reason for my suffering.
Yeah, I just wasn't enjoying it, so I was like, I mean, I did try and finish right before this recording, but I actually just ran out of time. Retrying missions a lot, restarting them. So
Yeah, that's where I learned like, oh, hard mode's like actually hard.
yeah, I would have really liked to have been able to switch my difficulty. I think.
Not here.
I on difficulty, I never pick the hardest unless I know what I'm getting into by picking the hardest. So like games in a series, I'll pick hardest. Like I'll pick hardest after like on subsequent like games
Yeah.
because I know like generally speaking what that means. But like starting right off the bat, because I know if it's too difficult and I have to grind my head too much, and there's no option to change it mid playthrough, then I'll just drop a game.
Like
Yeah,
easy,
that's
medium,
fair.
hard. I thought, oh, only 3. Like normally I'll pick one below hardest depending on the game. But I was like, no, I can do better than normal.
I'm not normal. I'm better than
And
normal.
I was not. We all get different things out of our games, right? But yeah. So I think that's that. Overall, I think it's definitely a game for some people, and weirdly not a game for me. Despite me picking it, but you know, there's definitely
No
people out there
one-
who will enjoy it.
No one
And-
here said they would 100% play through it
Yeah.
if they had started.
I mean, Jeff was pretty close.
There's a good
He almost
chance I would
definitely.
play through it, but there's
Yeah.
also a world where I get busy and I drop it, and I
Mhm.
kind of think about going back, and it's been a week, and I'm like, eh.
Yeah.
You know-
But
you
for
know that
$5.
feeling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel that. It's a Monday for me.
But yeah, for $5, it's you can't go too wrong with it.
I
Anyway,
blasted
it's
through the
enjoyable.
last 5 missions in one play session, so I think that was like I
Mm.
said, in that moment, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, I'm going through, you know.
I slowed way down. I was taking like an hour long per mission just trying to figure it out
Oh
at
damn,
the end.
I think
I was going fast till the last.
those
second to
last one
last.
slowed down. I think like 1 or 2 of them took an hour maybe to figure out, but yeah, it was like I don't know. I was having fun, you know. Like, but I was just saying, if I get cut off in the middle and I don't think about it, I probably maybe
If something else comes along,
if something.
wasn't enough to like hook you.
But if
above
I
all
had a
other
nice
things.
unbroken streak, it's just playing a chill flash game. Yeah, I'll finish.
All right, so that's the end of this episode, and so now we must reveal our next game. It's actually finally Terry's turn.
Hooray, my dice finally blessed
Woo!
me. It took
Over
long
a
enough.
year.
He's been
What?
chosen.
The
So Terry,
10th,
what is-
the
what is
10th
your-
one.
Yeah, 10th
um,
one.
So I picked Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. It's a hack and slash. Published by Platinum Games. That's the studio.
Did you pick this game because you just want us to
Yeah.
play this game?
Yeah,
Or
and I
you
also want to
didn't
play
talk
again.
about it?
So
Yeah.
like with Kevin with Hades, I have played this game before.
Yeah.
I've beaten it. Played it quite extensively back in like years back. I'm talking like
On release.
when the
Mm.
game
I remember.
close to when
Yeah,
the
you
game came
loved it.
out. Yeah. This would have been like 7-8 years ago. And with the resurgence of it in meme culture, I kind of wanted the
Yeah.
boys to be able to play it, and I just
we
want
kind of
excuse
missed
to
the
play it again.
resurgence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the resurgence is a little bit over now, but that's what happens with
Hey.
dice.
Hey, look at the games we've been playing lately.
Yeah.
We're always a little behind.
We're not exactly with the time.
Yeah,
but,
I would have kept us with the times if I got picked. I would have. You know what game I would have said?
No, you can't reveal. That's for next episode.
Well, I don't
in
know.
Case he wins.
I don't know if I'm
No,
gonna
shh, mute himself. Editor, mute him,
Okay.
even though he's the editor. But anyway,
Okay, I'm not gonna say. It.
yeah. So if you'd like to play with us, Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. Well, but yeah. So
Yeah, by the time this episode comes out, if you don't want to play it, the stream VODs should be on our channel. They're unlisted. You have to go into the playlist section because we don't want to clutter the video feed with a bunch of my live streams.
yeah, Terry does
We
stream.
like your live streams.
He's good at it. Look at
I
his setup.
stream somewhat inconsistently, so make sure you subscribe and do the bell thingamajig to get notified when
Like,
either I
comment,
go live.
subscribe, and hit that bell
Exactly.
to get notified.
That's what we want from you, our loyal
Dude,
viewers.
I've never hit a bell in my life.
Me neither.
Neither have
No,
I.
yeah, never hit a bell.
Oh wait,
But
no,
you should hit bell for
I-
us because we're worth it.
I hit bells for live stream. Yep.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't because I trust the recommended feed to give me the playthroughs that I'm looking at right now, anyways.
Sometimes
you
you see a
trust the
stream you
YouTube
really want to
gods.
watch, and you're like, yeah, I want to be there.
The bell wouldn't exist.
We
if
don't
people
bell
didn't use
because
it.
we're boomers. We're boomers
True.
and hate
Bell
notifications.
is built in.
me
To be
a
honest,
boomer?
I just hate notifications. I've received
The-
like
the
the
fact that
random
you-
notifications from YouTube, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't need this.
Well, bell didn't even used to exist, so
That's what I'm saying. The bell exists now because they implemented the notification system that it'll actually ping you on your phone. When a
You've never
notification drops.
seen a
hate
video
it.
or a stream where it's like, or a stream where it's like, yeah, I gotta see this. You know, like I so in.
No, I don't want to be told to watch something. I want to go watch something
But
when I want to see
You
it.
are going to watch it. You are telling future you to watch it. You're hitting the note. It's just a note. It's not YouTube telling you. You telling you.
Regardless, I think this is a conversation for after the episode. So let's let you sign us off.
like and subscribe and hit the bell notification. Yeah.
Even though 3 of these fuck motherfuckers don't even use it. Hypocrites, all of you.
It's because I don't
Hey,
use notifications at all. Except
I'll
for
notify
emails.
myself for our channel because we're worth it. But thank you, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.